Hello, recorders. I'm reporting to you live from PowerHouse Comic-Con, their 5th anniversary, and it's
It's recording time!
Jesse, that's my catchphrase. Like, how would you feel if I said yours?
I mean, go for it.
Keep your knees high, Twinkle Toes.
He has already brought them here to PowerHouse Comic-Con. Hundreds of video games to enjoy. He will also introduce his latest arcade to those who are here in attendance. Michael is a digital media professional with experience in quality assurance and video game development design, experience on AAA and independent titles from conception through certification testing and submission for PC and mobile and major console platforms. Educational experience in areas of video game design and development using leading game engines, 2D, 3D design software, and other team development. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Michael Svabek. Yeah! You like that, huh?
I love the Halo Run Pop sound.
Oh, yeah. Oh, like just popping in the heads, right? It's a party. It's funny that most people don't understand where that comes from. Yeah, and it's like, you know, when they get it,
Yeah.
right?
All right,
Mike,
well,
how are you doing, man?
good. Thanks for having me. It's a great crowd.
Sorry, everybody, we're running a little late, but
Yeah.
Mike's been very busy.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been popping in there. So a lot of people playing games, things like that. So I'm glad everybody's stopping by, having a good time. So that's what we're all about.
And we had to steal you away, but thank you for making some time, just so we can talk about iiRcade.
So
What are we jumping into?
on that, let's jump into this, guys. So before we jump into the consoles, because we definitely want to get into that, we're going to get into a little bit of who is Michael and why should we know who he is. Okay. You've worked at some major AAAs like Blizzard and Disney. Tell us about some of the experience you've had working at those AAAs.
Gotcha. Yeah. So Disney was actually a little bit different because I was in entertainment, but I was actually an acrobat, so a little bit different space there too.
Right. And we do want to get into a little bit about that.
Wait,
so,
what?
Yeah, because I want to bring that up, but it's more so like, again, you know, we're gonna try and stick around the video games, but that's just something fun. That's like,
Sure.
Clear the stage.
Yeah, so Disney was fun too, but yeah, AAA experience, yeah. So Blizzard specifically, and then as well as Bethesda was really my major projects and stuff.
Okay.
So I worked on games like Fallout 76, which was fun. You know, Skyrim, of course, we've all worked on Skyrim. If you ever worked at Bethesda, you've worked on Skyrim at some point in your life. I guarantee it. Lots of other games too. A lot of games from Tango Game Studios, the horror game franchises over there. So as well as Dishonored series. So if you ever played Dishonored 1 or 2 from Arcane Leon, worked on those games as well. So and Tango would have been, oh my gosh. Can't even think. The Evil Within, there we go. Evil Within 1 and 2, yeah. So those were those are fun because testing originally, when I first started on those projects, so like QA testing, way different when you're testing a horror game. So it's like show up at the office at 7 a.m., there's a brand new build, you never know what new jump scares are coming to wake you up in the morning. So always a fun time with that. But yeah, so my experience ranges from a lot on AAA too. I started as QA, I went into level design, as well as now I'm an actual game designer itself, so that's my actual title usually. And nowadays I work as an executive producer, so I do a lot of things. Hardware, software, game development, a little bit of everything right now too. Leading the QA team.
Sweeping, cleaning, doing dishes, everything.
Yeah, I mean sometimes I do restock the kitchen from Amazon. So
Right.
Running coffee, you know.
yeah,
just
making
like,
sure my teams have what they need to survive. So that's what I'm all
There
about.
you
Yeah.
go.
It's like doing some light PA work. It's just
Yes.
Real quick, what games did you play growing up? Because I feel like this is such like a passion project job for you.
So a lot of everything, honestly. So I come from working in arcades now. A little crazy. So Time Crisis 2 is like my jam at the bowling alley. You know, going to the bowling alley as a kid, playing all the arcade machines. That and like some other giant robot games mostly. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, I grew up with Nintendo, especially as like my staple for sure. So like NES. Actually, never owned an SNES. Never did that.
Same. I
had
never
a
owned
Genesis
one
though through my brother. So I played a lot of Sega Genesis growing up. Played a lot of N64 when it came out too. That was more my stuff was the N64 days, I would say, as well as NES originally, and then got into like MLG Halo stuff. You know, I like my first-person shooters, my MMOs, a little bit of everything.
Started to grow up a little bit.
Yeah. A little bit of everything though. I love games. Like I'm passionate about games clearly because I work in the game space. So I love just playing any kind of games, good or bad. Honestly, just something different is what interests me. So that's it. Yeah.
nice. Now jumping back on this Disney run, man.
Okay.
So you were an acrobat with Disney. Tell us about that, man. What were some of the things that you did?
Yeah, so I worked at Entertainment in the Park. So I did primarily the Pixar Play Parade. That's what it was called back then. So it's actually no longer happening anymore, which is crazy. But we had a good run on that. So that was doing gymnastics, basically. So I'm a formal trained gymnast, competed for Penn State doing gymnastics and stuff like that, too. So I'm a collegiate gymnast, yeah. So that's kind of how I got roped into that. But I did actually go to school for game design, weirdly enough. So yeah,
That's awesome.
It's good. And once my body started breaking down a little bit more, then I said, hey, it's time to use my actual degree. So that's what I do now.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you went from gymnastics to getting into, like, how did you get hired by Disney to?
Just a scout, honestly. Somebody showed up at the right place at the right time and said, hey, you should come to this audition. I was like, cool, I'm 19 at the time, right? So why not, right? What 19-year-old's not going to do that? Right?
That's
So,
awesome.
What were there any particular characters that you played, or was it more of just kind of?
I did do face characters, so I was best friends with a couple characters in the park. I'm not going to, there's
Okay.
only one. There's only one. That's how it goes. So,
Nice.
But yes, I did do face characters. I actually did intern at Imagineering as well, so making environment designs for the park, so doing 3D sculptures and stuff for
Nice.
like light fixtures and stuff. So I did actually sort of do that. for
Yeah,
Disney
so
as well.
that's like a transferable
Transition
skill.
into
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's something that you can do in level design.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah, same exact thing. So as an environment artist or a level designer in games, same thing, just in a physical medium, which is great. So I did that a little bit at Disney as well too, as an Imagineer.
I'm so curious about this gymnastics leading into Disney. And I'm not gonna like put you on the spot, but my son loves gymnastics and he loves Disneyland. I'm like, now I get to go home and tell him like, hey, if you keep going with what you
it's
love
awesome.
with gymnastics, maybe you can.
Maybe you could work at Disney.
Exactly. So that's super cool.
All right, so let's get more into the games and stuff like that, because I mean we can talk about being a gymnast at Disney all day,
I guess.
but we're here to talk about iiRcade. Now, these consoles come preloaded with some pretty major games out of the box, like Double Dragon, Dragon's Lair. Can you speak to us about your game selection, licensing, and some in-house development?
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. Let's do the elevator pitch, right? So
Yeah.
11 games come with every console, like you said. So Double Dragon, Dragons are included in that. Dead Cells does come with Dead Cells now.
Oh, it actually comes with Dead Cell now?
Yeah, so some games do have 12-pack in games. Yeah, so some machines do. Just depends on the machine. Now in our gold editions, they do at least too. So
I was gonna
those
say, is
brand
that
new
the
ones-
gold edition?
Yeah, the lit marquees in there, the
Got
JBL
it.
sound. Yeah, those are the new gold editions that are just coming out now. Those are hit stores in July, so they're available for pre-order right now. But it's a whole other thing.
So this is like the first time you can actually play that.
Yeah,
Anywhere.
Yep, these are first hands-on. These are technically still my original prototypes, but they end up looking the exact same anyway, pretty much. So
Yeah.
close enough, right?
Yeah,
So
that's badass.
Yeah, very different experience than from the standard. So now that we've upped the volume, or not the volume on the audio, but the audio quality essentially, basically going from a standard cab to this one with the JBL sound it's like going from like a TV to an IMAX theater basically. So the sound quality is there. Games, it's extremely important to have this audio quality. It's
immersive.
On a lot of machines, especially on arcade machines nowadays, they kind of overlook it often, so it's a shame, but we don't. So
Yeah.
because a game like Dragon's Lair, just that attract mode alone is like, it's crazy powerful audio in your face, and
Yeah.
like you need that like thump and bass and like everything else going on. So we do all that stuff. Big part of us. Now we're fully online, so everything's going online right now, which is great. So you can actually play like Double Dragon's officially available online right now. So you can play against other people with
So
arcades. Yeah, as well as modern games, right? So Riptide GP Renegade is coming online soon, so we'll have an online 8-player racing game. So eight people in a match racing on different arcades around the world, which is crazy. As well as global leaderboards, we do all that fun stuff. But yeah, otherwise, just a quality build machine. That's what we're all about, quality. So you can feel it in there. Shake it around. You can hit that thing and kick it. You're not going to scratch it. Don't worry about that.
Don't
we make
kick
sure
it.
that
Nobody should be kicking the
I kick the machines
arcade
all the time
systems.
just to show people they can. It's not going to scuff up.
Oh
so
my
it is a very
goodness.
quality
I was gonna say it's
machine.
not like like in the '80s when you had to like hit the side of the machine to
Yeah.
get it to work.
I mean, I probably won't make it work better, but yeah.
I mean, it never made it work better. I mean, it's like blowing into your Nintendo
I
cartridge,
did have
right?
one of our hardware engineers the one time tell me to hit the machine specifically, so it was a fun one. It happens.
Just need you to hit the side of it right there. Just
Those were the early days of iiRcade, but yes. But yeah, so we do a little bit of everything.
they
Modern
did that
games,
on
retro
purpose.
games.
There's like a gyroscope inside of it specifically. It's for like, hey, we want to have the real experience. Hit the side of it, makes it work again.
Well, speaking of gyroscopes, too, with the gold editions now, with the ports and stuff on, we are going into accessories as our new thing. So things like trackball, spinners, light guns, and stuff down the road.
Nice.
Those are starting to roll out now this year as we license more and more titles that fit into those genres, as well
Right.
as bringing things like our shoot 'em ups online. Right, we're known for having a ton of shooters on our system.
Right.
So with the trackball, why not make that work? Instead of using a joystick, if you want it to work with the trackball, why not?
Right.
Just a different way to play. So, but for games that really need it, games like Tempest and things-
Centipede or something.
Sure, yeah, games that are notorious for having like a spinner or a trackball, right?
Yeah.
You really want to feel that, so we're now doing that as well too. So not just joystick games anymore. It's gonna be fun.
Are you guys planning on bringing in like IR guns?
Easy.
Pending.
He's got an NDA or
No,
something.
okay, no, I get it. And the reason that I'm asking that...
Gun for IR, the one that's basically branded for us, basically.
Yeah, I know, right?
No. We are actually partnered with a Lycon company right now, too. I can't mention necessarily who,
Gotcha,
but they do make
gotcha.
very, very high-quality light guns. We're fantastically... We're stoked on that partnership. That's going to be announced later on this summer, and with hopefully a couple games included with that. Right?
Yeah, because that's like eventually I want like hey, can we get some Time Crisis going or something like that? You know what I
Time
mean?
Crisis 2 is my favorite game.
I know, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like that was one of those.
Remake did just release this year. So.
Right, like that was like an excuse to go to an arcade a lot of times. I want to go play Time Crisis,
Yeah.
So I mean, like that would be cool.
Those bigger and badder titles too. Of course, we're still a growing company. We're still technically a startup, right? We've only been around for a year and a half now, so it's pretty crazy that we've released over 400 games now in the store in just the short time that we have.
Well, just like
wait
the
a second.
amount, yeah.
We talked to you a month ago, a month and a half ago, and
We
you
got
said 300. Now it's at 400.
There's more. Yeah, there's more now.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's rapid. So we do release more and more games, and we get more and more licenses. And as we keep growing too, we'll get those bigger and better licenses, right? So they cost a little bit more money, honestly. So going into licensing, if you want to skip to that, I guess a little bit, right? You're asking
Yeah,
about
so
that.
like licensing, because I have noticed you guys do have some huge licenses, and like some of the companies you license from are like, they're not just like small indie
Yeah, I mean,
licenses.
Sega's there, Taito's there. We got those big players as well as more coming on the road.
You guys
later on
have
this year. We
Midway
haven't
games
announced-
in there, which is crazy.
Not quite yet, actually.
I thought I saw some Midway
So
games.
Midway's
stuff
owned by
in there.
Warner Brothers, so we're working on talking to them very soon. But yeah, things like that. Always anything's possible for sure.
I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to get the
He's trying to
inside
go
scoop.
games.
No, I
I
swear-
know games here.
I know what you're trying
No,
to do.
I swear when I was going through the through the library, I
There
thought I
are
saw
some
Midway
games that
stuff.
are Midway games. They're just not owned by the original Midway, so which dissolved into Warner Brothers now.
Gotcha,
So
okay.
Midway games like Joust and things, those are actually done by Warner Brothers nowadays. They own those licenses. So yeah,
Nice.
licensing is a tricky monster in that case, right? It's because
Yeah.
you never know sometimes who owns a game, right? A game like Baseball Batman has like 20 different owners, so you got to talk to all these different people to actually license that game. And a lot of people are like, this game doesn't exist anywhere. It must be easy to bring over. Not quite the case a lot of the times, unfortunately. Sometimes
of
people
times,
own the
'cause-
rights to just different sound bites, which is crazy when that happens. So different characters in games, that happens sometimes too. So licensing is another monster, especially in the retro
Interesting.
arcade world. Yeah.
Speaking of licensing, you have some licenses from like overseas, right?
Yeah, we're big on
That
our
weren't
JP
really
games.
here.
Yep.
You know, when we were growing up, I guess.
Yeah, so what's fun is that, a lot of what you consider competitors, we kind of are in our own little space now, but they release, the big name games. You want a Street Fighter cab, or you want a Mortal Kombat cab, or you want a Pac-Man cab, right? That's not really our model. So those are great games for us to have, and of course we're always working on getting bigger and better titles, and we have some AAA already, no doubt. We put those on our machine for, different, because that's what people want usually, but we're not selling you a bunch, like one machine, and then another machine, and another machine, another machine. Our value is really you buy one machine, and that's it. You don't need to, unless you want to really upgrade to another one, you don't have to.
Or change a cabinet, or
Yeah, our power is in bringing those games to that same machine, right? So you can always just purchase them instead of having to buy a whole new $800 machine every time you want a new game.
Right.
You just pay $10 for the game instead, right? So it's a lot different. So as a
Yeah.
business model, which is great though, but because of that, we don't have to stick to just those really high-end AAA titles, right? We can bring in these Psycho games and stuff from Japan that no one knows in America because
Right.
they didn't release over here in arcades because they only made 3,000 of them and they existed overseas and that was it. Games that only had really limited runs of like a couple hundred machines, we can bring those because to us, people are looking for them and they're totally willing to buy them, but like nobody's gonna probably buy that machine just for that game, right?
Right, just one machine for one game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's like it's like punk rock. Like
pretty much. Yeah.
Like let's get this
Shaking it
rare
up.
recording of Pearl Jam in Tokyo, that sort of thing. I think it's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, so those lesser known games, we're totally known for getting hidden gem games that people just didn't know existed, but they're great
Right.
games. And like they just didn't know they existed because they didn't get enough marketing value like some other games did back in the day in the 80s and 90s and stuff. So
Nice,
It's
nice.
so dope.
So
it.
what's one feature that people keep asking about? That I mean, and
That
we
you're
probably
allowed-
named
there's
a
a
couple
lot.
of them right here, but what's like the top one? Like the top feature that people were like, we wish you guys had this.
sure. I mean, right now it's about getting the game store onto the actual machine. That's a big one, which has been planned for a long time anyway. Additional features, though, I mean, we kind of covered our bases now with online play for the games and stuff rolling out. We've got Jukebox in there. We've kind of covered everything. There's not really a big ask, other than now we're just, software updates for improving everything over
Right.
time, right? The new interface that's coming out later on this year too. That's a big one that we get asked for all the time too. An update for the interface. We know we're working on that. We've been working on that for a while, so that'll look pretty. Other features.
Because you guys are Android based, right? Yeah.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we're Android OS.
how I want to say
Hardware is really what people ask for, honestly.
Right.
People want a 4-player version of the cab. because they have more space in their house, right? But we try to stick to like general home use, right? So like a 2-player cab is kind of our perfect space. You don't always have 4 people over to play that game, so it's kind of a waste of space, honestly.
Right.
But we do get asked for a lot of different hardware specs all the time, so that's probably my number one ask.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Nice. So, what's the most popular game you guys have on the console right now?
Have to look. I think Retromania is still top right now. Retromania Wrestling is still the
Retromania.
top-selling game for the last year now. Yeah, which is crazy. Top of that, weirdly enough, we get asked for retro games all the time, and then you'll release a bunch of retro games, and then you have a bunch of people asking for modern games, right? So you kind of go in waves and phases like that.
Back
So,
and forth.
so because we cover both the retro and modern scene. So, but because of that, right now people are asking for more modern, but originally it was always retro, right? So now that we got the retro.
Did I see on
it's-
Retromania that so there's a lot of like homage to wrestlers we knew, but did I see Matt Cardona?
Yeah, Matt Cardone's in the game too. Yeah, they have
I didn't see
Retromania.
that.
They're fully licensed wrestlers in that
That's
game too.
awesome.
So we're all about fully licensed too, right? So it just worked in hand for us that RetroStop did that as well. Yeah, all those are the real wrestlers with their likeness and stuff on purpose. They paid for
Dude,
those.
Matt
and everything.
Cardona's in that?
Matt
That's
Cardona's in
dope.
there, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he's what, the current Impact champion, right?
I don't know if it's Impact, but he's like the GCW or something.
Yeah.
champion.
Man, that's
That's
awesome.
awesome. I dig that.
But yeah, our top selling games tend to be modern though. Even though people ask for the old retro classics stuff all the time, modern games tend to do better on our system, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Real quick, if anybody has questions, I know you guys were bugging Mike and having a good time chatting it up. So, if you have any questions,
Yeah, just get them ready. We're gonna have an audience question section
throw
here.
them out there.
So, something that I found that was like super awesome about this is it's not like, a lot of times you think that you see these cabinet consoles and it's like, oh yeah, you can only get it on our website. You can only get it, at a startup or something like that. But you guys are available everywhere. Like
Yeah,
you
we're
can get them at Best Buy.
Best
You can
Buy,
get them
Walmart.
at Walmart.
Yeah, Amazon.
Amazon. Yeah, Amazon. If it's on Amazon,
We're at-
it's a real
We're
thing.
at the Brick in Canada, which is like the Walmart of Canada too. We're at the
Right.
Brick.
So back to gymnastics in Disneyland. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, I was looking at the question that I had written here. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna
That's
ask
okay.
that.
Well, I was going to ask real quick. Tell me how it works, because you buy one cabinet. It comes with, 16 games?
11.
11 games, sorry. But you can download other games? So
Yes,
it's all internet-based?
Yeah, we coined that term arcade console for a reason, right? Because we are a console, in fairness. People like to call us a cabinet. We're not an arcade cabinet. We're really an arcade console, right? So because of that, we're more in the space of an Xbox or a Switch, just in the form of an arcade, right? So we're all about people staying up and playing instead of sitting there on the couch with the controller on the screen, right? So we can bring those same kind of games from the Switch and stuff to our platform, and it's a much different experience, right? We have that crazy audio going on now too. Just playing on an arcade cabinet, a game like Dead Cells in there right now too, it's just a much different experience versus somebody playing it with a controller sitting on a couch, right? And that's really what we're about, is really the experience of it too, and the interconnectivity on our machine. So that's why the online was a very big aspect of our machine. So the online play, especially right now too, the global leaderboards for old school games too, we do all that stuff for the reason that we want people to interact and play together. We don't want you just buying a console and just, popping it in there and just, playing Pac-Man a handful of times and then it just sits there like a piece of furniture. I want people to actually play the games, right? So
Right.
that's a whole big thing for our system.
That's awesome. And you can, download the games and play
So
them.
you can download straight from our digital store, which is going on the machine soon too. But you just go to the store itself too. You log in. You're on the same account on the machine. You log in on the machine. You're logged in on the store.
Right.
And then the games that you purchase, they go straight to the machine. And then you can always uninstall them, reinstall them anytime you want, just like any other system, any other console. You purchase them, they're yours for life, right? So you can always go back to it. In case some people don't like to have, a multi-cade with 200 games on there, because you don't want to scroll through and then you just end up scrolling for 20 minutes and then you're done. It's like Netflix, right? You can never pick anything when there's too many choices.
Too many choices.
Yeah, so we do have other people too who do a lot like me at work all the time. I'll have 15 games that I'm actually looking into and actually playing currently, and then when I'm done with them, I might uninstall them and then go back to them and reinstall them later on, install something else in its place.
Oh, that's cool.
That's more how I like to do it too. So that's a thing that I've gotten used to doing a lot more too, and I've noticed a lot more people doing now too, which is great. And because of our system, the way that it works, again, you can always uninstall and reinstall anytime you want. So if you're tired,
But they're
of
always
playing,
yours if
Yeah,
you
if you're
buy
tired of
them.
playing Space Ace for 100 times over, and you just want to install it for the space, or the space. You just want to install it because you just want to play it right now.
Install the space for the space.
Yeah, but then you can always, 6 months down the road, you're down the road, you're just like, hey, I want to play Space Ace again. You can just reinstall right then. You're good to go. Yeah.
Very cool. I
Different,
dig that.
yeah. Very different than just a one and done arcade machine.
Right,
Yeah.
which some of the competitors out there, that's kind of what it is you're buying it for that nostalgic piece. It's just
Yeah,
a
of
single
course, yeah.
cabinet. Again, in my opinion, the advantage that you have with iiRcade is that you can switch out different games, and you do have like physical memory inside of it that you can save games on, and that's kind of.
It's that and saving space too, like actual physical space too. We have a lot of people who purchase our machines and they have machines and machines down in their basements and things, right? So what's great about our machines?
Shout out to Dave from PowerHouse Comic-Con.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, no, he has like an entire
So
room.
their spouses and stuff are mad at them for taking up. The living room now has a new machine in it and stuff like that. But yeah, with ours it's nice because you don't have to buy all these new machines. You just have to get one and you're good to go. If you want more, great.
Good
I love
for
it
you,
because
yeah.
of course you're putting me through college, right? But
Yeah.
There you go.
No, but yeah, that's not our business model, right? Though, so yeah, one and done machine. So it's really just space saving overall, not just digitally but physically too.
Nice. So I'm gonna ask you a couple questions here
So
that are not game related, but just more like
Right, rapid fire.
asking like you before we jump into audience questions here.
So at Disney, no, I'm just kidding.
What would be the worst movie sequel ever made?
goodness. If I'm gonna keep it to games, I'm gonna go with Street Fighter the movie.
Oh
The
god.
sequel. Street Fighter the movie, the sequel. But I would watch it 100%. I would probably pay to go to a
Right.
theater.
But
and watch
like
that
Jean-Claude
movie.
Van Damme is Guile again,
Oh,
right?
it has to be. I mean,
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme probably,
The problem is we don't have Raul Julia anymore,
it's fair.
right? So like
Oh,
he
that's a good point.
Raul Julia wouldn't
Yeah.
like who at that point who do you cast as M. Bison?
I don't even know. That's a great question. You know what?
Benicio del Toro.
Throw
Benicio del Toro.
Throw like a wild card that makes you do like a Terry Crews or something. Just see what happens.
Yeah.
Just
Terry Crews is like, yeah, no, he's Puerto Rican.
Just mix it up. I mean, you can always get like a old school Johnny Cage. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of people you could probably cast in that role. Though.
Oh, Johnny Cage, The Miz has to play Johnny Cage. I'm sorry, I'm just throwing that out there
That's
right
fair.
now, right?
I
The
mean-
Miz it literally is Johnny Cage.
Yeah.
That we need him
No,
as
that's
Johnny
actually
Cage.
true.
I don't know if you guys agree with that for the Mortal Kombat movies, but
Just bring back Daniel Pacino. We're good. Daniel Pacino can go.
there we go. If you had, so if you were sitting on a 10-hour flight, right, dead or alive, who
Okay.
would you most like to sit next to on that 10-hour flight, have a conversation with?
I have no idea.
Anybody,
Dead
man.
or alive? I don't know.
Like, who's the most interesting person you could talk to for 10
So
hours?
I'm a big science nerd, weirdly enough too. So like I would honestly like a Carl Sagan would be like a pretty solid choice for me. I think.
Yes.
He'd be
Yeah.
a good one. Yeah. Yeah. I think
A
we just have
10-hour
a
flight
nice,
with Carl
a
Sagan?
nice riveting conversation, an intellectual conversation.
Yeah.
He'd probably blow my mind in so many different ways, and I'd just be sitting there, acting like I understand what he's talking about, and be like,
How,
spit-
so
you
so
spit-
about,
you know.
how giddy would you get the minute he says big blue dot?
I'm sweating already.
Right? Like, I'm just thinking about it, and I'm
Pale blue
thinking about
dot
him
right
saying
there.
big
I'm
blue
like,
dot.
That's it.
You'd
That's how I
spend-
die on a plane is when Carl Sagan is there too. Goes to
Yeah.
Carl Sagan, comes in, pale blue dot, it's all done. That's me. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I nerd out about my science stuff, so that's probably me.
Do you guys have any questions? Just
go.
I don't want to forget. So I
Anybody
just
in the
wanna think
audience? Do
about
we
it.
have any questions?
Okay.
We answered everything.
I know, right?
You should be out there playing the games. They're amazing. They're awesome.
Any questions at all? Does anybody have any questions? There we go.
I'll ask one.
Bacon in the sun.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
So, I have collected a lot of the other brands,
absolutely.
and I've been looking at iiRcade for a while, but curious about just how the system supports in terms of tech specs, download, like is there like storage issues?
Yeah.
You can delete and re-download, so.
Yeah, so I mean, there's not a whole lot of issues right now. We do software updates, right? Everything's over the air. So since they're Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and now the gold machines have Ethernet too, so even faster connection for that online play. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of issues, but if there are, we fix them pretty much ASAP, right? Like we want these machines to work. We don't want it to be a frustrating experience when you turn it on, right? That's not the goal at all. I want you to be able to turn it on, play it, not worry about things, right? So yeah, as far as the game installs go, there's definitely some issues that we're working on right now. But overall, no. As long as the machine is on, you're ready to go. You purchase a game or you install it from the account itself. Yeah, usually no issues with that stuff.
And in terms of like even emulation, is it considered emulation? Because I know when
Yeah.
I use emulators with my machines, there's so much configuration you have to do.
Yeah, so not on ours though, right? So we do use our own proprietary software in there too. We run everything off Android-based system, right? So that's our OS, but we do have our own emulator, technically speaking, on the back end as well that we run things with. But the ROMs that we get are all paid for and stuff. We work directly with the licensors, right? So yeah, there's nothing crazy going on. If you purchase a game on our machine, it's gonna work right out the gate. It's not gonna be broken or anything like that. Yeah. And if it's not, I'm gonna fix it right away. I guarantee it. Yeah, it's number one on my list. But yeah, and our CS team's amazing with that kind of stuff too. So they do come with a 1-year warranty in case you're ever like nervous about it purchasing or anything. They do come with a full 1-year warranty. If anything goes wrong with shipping and stuff, especially like who knows when FedEx hucks around boxes and stuff, right? So if it's broken, we'll send you a new part, things like that. But yeah, nothing to worry about there. Our customer service seems fantastic, super responsive within like 24 hours if it's a weekday and stuff like that too. And even on the weekends, Monday you'll get a response. But yeah.
And my last question is just release schedule for games.
Sure. So we actually do release games weekly right now on Fridays typically. Yeah. So we actually just released a new game called Casino Golf yesterday too. They don't always, those AAA banging titles that you want 100%. But again, that's the beauty of our system. We can release these titles that some people just don't even know about, but they're fun. They're these fun games. So, and of course, bigger titles will come. Usually we do big announcements on Fridays and stuff with those two. Myself or our CEO, Zhang of the company, he'll get online, do it on YouTube and Facebook and things. So Facebook community group is always popping. But yeah, we do release games on Friday, every Friday. Yep.
Right, and you guys do have like social media spaces, right? So like.
We do. Yeah.
iiRcade.
We do have like the actual page, the iiRcade page on Facebook. We've also got the iiRcade fan page, and Dave, who hosts the expo here, has his own iiRcade retro group too. Who we like are in the group with them too. Yeah.
Nice.
They have a good time. They focus on just the retro titles, but yeah, lots of different groups. A couple different Discords going on nowadays too, with online for people playing, getting voice comms and stuff like that. Until we put them on a machine ourselves, they're using that for now. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you have a super passionate community.
I mean, the arcade community in general, right? The retro gaming community, yeah, very passionate people. Gaming in general is a very passionate community, right? People care about the games they love. When you're talking about a nostalgic thing, especially, right, you safeguard that. Of course you do, right? Everybody does. So it's easy to get defensive, we know. But, we try to take the good with the bad, but yeah.
We had Dave on our show, earlier this week.
Yeah.
And he was just like, hey, when we get to PowerHouse, we're having a tournament. We're like, all right, let's do it. He's like, you and me, we're doing it.
That's the fun thing with online play right now too, is that we can connect all these different people right now. So we're starting to get into tournaments. It's still an alpha state right now. So once you're connected, honestly, it works really well. Connection is definitely a little spotty right now, is what we're working on, especially with the Wi-Fi. But
especially if it's in your garage or something like that.
It's alpha, so there's going to be bugs. We've been very open and honest about that too. But it's great because we have the community kind of testing with us too, which is fantastic. So we take in all that feedback all the time, and we go fix stuff. So we make the changes that they want. So, yeah.
Super sweet. All right, well, I have some other questions here. So one of our sponsors for our podcast is something called Poddex, and it's basically they're interview questions and stuff. So there's a specific gaming one that's on here, and I figured, you know what? Let's jump into this and get in this because we kind of knocked out all the questions on everything. So it's like, let's have some fun. Why not, right? So you kind of talked about this earlier, but what is one video game that creeped you out so bad you couldn't play it by yourself?
I mean, Amnesia originally in the dark, Oof. Amnesia was a rough one. Again, I tested horror games at one point in my life. AAA horror games. So it's hard to scare me in video games, I think, at this point, because I'm just so desensitized to it from testing that stuff.
Right. Okay. Because like the Del Toro Silent Hill that got canceled, but I mean that just that demo was scary as crap. So
I mean, Amnesia back in the day when Amnesia first came out, turn off all the lights, playing it on Steam on PC and stuff, lightning storm outside, that's a scary game to me. Man. Even BioShock, honestly, was a little bit creepy back in the day, too.
BioShock definitely was a creepy game.
When I was a little younger, that probably freaked me out a little bit when I first played BioShock,
Especially when the Big Daddy first comes out?
Big Daddy, that's it.
Yeah. I mean...
I used to just get nervous, on Super Mario Brothers when you get to the fire levels.
Oh, yeah.
That's as far as I got. Sorry, go ahead.
Have you ever made a game out of... Oh, never mind.
Okay. What do you think? I've made games before, though, yes.
Yeah, I know, right? No, that was a specific Poddex question. So I was like, what do you think is the best game on PlayStation?
On PlayStation? You're asking me about the one console that I don't currently own.
What is the best game on Xbox?
It's also a hard question right now. Do you think... I don't have time anymore to play games is the problem, right? I'm an adult nowadays, right?
I know, right?
Oh, on
what
Xbox?
Is the favorite?
How about this? Okay. I'll go my all-time kind of Xbox in the vein of Xbox, right? So Halo, I'm a huge Halo nut for sure. I mean, I've read even the books and stuff with Runner and everything. So I'm definitely a big Halo fan, just because I grew up with it and went to the tournaments and stuff like that. Back in Halo 2 days and stuff. I haven't watched the show yet, so
I'm a little disappointed.
I know. I go in with low expectations, but I'm probably having a good time with it. I enjoy most things in life, so
Did you play Infinite?
I did for a little while at least too. So.
Yeah, I just beat it on stream yesterday.
Gotcha.
And I was the story surprised me a little bit, but it was good though.
I played the multiplayer. I haven't touched the campaign yet. Actually, weirdly enough. So
it was funny because I was playing the campaign on stream. Somebody popped in and they're like, "Wait, there's a campaign for this game?"
Yep.
But no, the campaign is actually pretty good. They soft rebooted the entire series.
Yes. Yeah,
with
it's a good way to put it.
with like the ending of that game. It's very much so we're starting from here again. It's pretty good though.
It's good. That's how you do it, though. And you've got enough games in the series, eventually you got to cycle back through, right?
Right.
Now this question may be like, who's your favorite child type question?
Okay.
But like, what's your favorite game that you were a part of?
Oh, like that.
And
I
it could
worked
be
on?
at any level that
Like
you were
that I
a part
worked
of.
on, or like.
Yeah,
that you worked on.
And why?
That's a tricky question.
Right.
Probably Dishonored 2. Yeah, I would say Dishonored 2. It's probably my favorite. So I did level design with Arcade Leon on that game when I was working at Bethesda, and like I got to work with some of the best level designers in the world. If you've never touched a Dishonored game, pick one up on PC.
Games
They're
are
probably
awesome.
like $10 honestly nowadays because they've been out for a couple years now. The quality is just so good. The story is fantastic. It's very heavily narrative driven, but you can play in so many different styles because they have different abilities and powers. So you can play stealthy. You can just beat your way through it. But due to the way that they designed the levels in that game specifically, in Dishonored 2, it was amazing because you really could play the way that you wanted. And because of that, you could pick up different notes of the story by doing different play styles too, because the characters and NPCs will react in different ways based off of the things that you do, right? It's a very reactive game. So I love that. Plus, great voice cast too. It had, oh my gosh, I can't even think of her name, but she did a lot of the voice work in it too. It's okay. Great with names. But yes, Dishonored 2 is probably my favorite project I've ever worked on. So it's a great turnout. Just the game turned out amazing. So.
Do you have a favorite role when creating a game? Like, do you like the designing? Do you like the coding? Do you like?
Yeah, nowadays I like to stick to generic game designer, honestly. So I am sort of the brains behind the concept and the baby of it, and then balancing and tweaks after that, right? So I do a lot of coding
Okay,
myself, but game design as an actual profession is really about tweaking game, making the game fun. If the game isn't fun, that's the game designer's fault. That's not the level designers or anything like that. Like it's a little bit of a combination, but really at a core level, if you're a game designer, your core goal should be making it fun or whatever the experience is. If it's a horror game, making people afraid, feel something, right? So that's the other part of that too. But,
So that's like rule one.
yeah,
make it
general
fun.
design is my favorite thing. That's what I fell in love with, passionate about. So I went from this is how I transferred out to California for school
Right.
and stuff, and that's how I ended up at Disney, right? So because I went from aerospace.
speaking of
I went from aerospace engineering to game design, right? So a little bit different. Yeah.
And we asked you this at Gem State, but I mean, we've got a new crowd here.
Sure.
Right? Horde or Alliance?
Alliance all day, every day for the past 18 years of my life now, right?
Rogues do it from behind.
That's fine.
Again, I'm a Horde all the way, but
Yeah,
That's
you
the
are.
typical answer. Yeah. I know.
yeah.
Dwarf Paladin. Done.
Not bad. Not bad.
It was a Orc Paladin, but
That's always the real question. Like, what is your D&D class? That's what really tells
Yeah.
about a
oh
person.
yeah, no, I'm a
that's-
half Orc Paladin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and specifically because the nuances and a lot of the just kind of storytelling you can do with the character like that.
Yeah.
Because they're a paladin and a half orc. They're complete opposites of each other, right? But it's like you can do really good storytelling with that though.
I like to do more of like the paladin, but like all charisma and nothing else. So like zero intelligence. So he's like the one that they train but they never really taught him how to like read his books and stuff. So he's the one like swallowing coins for safekeeping and stuff because he can store them in his stomach because there's no safer place
Right.
inside of him. So that's more my character.
The thought process. That's
yeah.
amazing.
It's just all charisma, so you can just talk your
There's
way out of
D&D going on
everything.
upstairs right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like you can just talk your way out of everything if you're just all charisma but no
perfect.
intelligence.
Yep.
Okay, back to iiRcade. So we can pick them up online
Yep.
at Best Buy.
Yeah, so right now we're purely online, actually. Even at Best Buy and
Okay.
Walmart, we're not in stores other than the brick in Canada currently. So unless you want to take a trip up to Canada and pick one up, it might be a little bit pricey. But yeah, and the Canadian currency is a little bit different. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Loonies and
we are
toonies?
online. We're online at on iiRcade.com. Of course, we sell direct to consumer. Our website, Best Buy, BestBuy.com, Walmart.com, Amazon.com. We're all over the place. I think we're kind of out of stock in most places other than Best Buy currently. So
Wow.
yeah. If you are looking for a sale, there's one coming up. Go to Best Buy in the upcoming weeks.
There
Check
you
it
go,
out.
guys.
So if you're
Anybody
looking
who's interested in one of these consoles,
if you're looking for like a Retromania flash sale cab, yeah, that's coming up. So little details there.
There
That's
we
coming
go.
up in June for around the Father's Day time. Yep.
nice.
I love it. So wait, hold on. So we have the Retromania Cab, which is do we have that here? I didn't notice it was.
There is, yeah, the standard edition Retromania cab.
I love that cabinet. That looks so cool with all the wrestlers on the sides and everything. Oh, it's my
It's
favorite.
basically as close as you're going to get to like a WWF WrestleFest.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
the
man.
closest cabinet you're going to get to that nowadays because of licensing reasons, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. But then you have Double Dragon.
Yep, Double Dragon's in there right now too. We have that. It's actually our black edition that comes naked. So you actually apply that's the only one you apply the decals yourself. They come with it. However, people choose to like do their own decals for that cab, right? So we actually had a graffiti artist come in and spray paint one. It was beautiful. I loved it. Different ideas you can do with that
custom
cab.
one.
Yeah, I did a nice seal-in on the side. It's beautiful.
That's cool.
So that's really what that is. That's their black edition cab. We've also got Dragon's Lair in there right now too.
Dead Cell.
Dead Cells, yeah.
That one looks really
The Dead Cell
cool.
cab does look dope.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's actually the artist, the original concept artist for the game, made that cab for us. So it's actually a nice landscape piece wrapped around that cabinet. So it's beautiful. Yeah, it turned out
Super cool.
Yeah, which is the fun stuff that we can do with modern games, right, on our system that nobody else can really do. That's why we love leaning into that kind of stuff.
Right.
Again, your favorite child. Which one's your favorite cabinet?
Ooh, Dead Cells is probably still my favorite right now too.
Yeah.
But I'm
the
a
Toe
big,
Jam and Earl one.
Toe Jam was limited run though. It's done.
Yeah, I know,
So-
right?
That's the exclusive.
Yeah, we do like limited run cabs of like 100 to 500 typically. We did that for Toe Jam and Earl, Sydney Hunter, Mayhem Brawlers, which is great. That cabinet turned out beautiful. It's like a very comic book style because that's what the game is. We did that one. I'm trying to think. We did the Space Ace one actually too to go along with the Dragon's Lair, but Space Ace is done. Beach Buggy Racing was a great one. Yeah.
Nice.
Retromania one. That's my favorite.
That's the one with Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
So, wrapping up here, what's your favorite taco, or what's your favorite place to go get tacos?
Actually, there's a place in Chicago by me, down the street. It's called Rainbow Tacos, and they do like Taco Tuesdays, but it's like dollar tacos. And you know, like
I'm into it.
Abuelita comes down from the street and she's like on the corner outside.
Yes.
Like that's what you need, right? That's the classic
Yes.
LA style, like street corner tacos. Like that's what we actually get that in Chicago. Weirdly enough, up by me. So yeah, if you ever come to Chicago, Rainbow
We're gonna
Tacos.
go
Yep.
Hang out at
I like
Rainbow
that.
Tacos because
I like
Abuelita's
that.
out there
Yeah.
making his tacos.
That's it.
I'm into
Dame
it.
más, por favor. Okay. Sí, por favor. Okay. Pac-Man, Mario, Link, Master Chief walk into an arena.
Like
Who makes the best taco?
in fairness, I have a Zelda tattoo, so like I have to go with Link. I feel like I'm obligated. I'm going
Link
with
makes the best taco.
I mean, it depends on which version of Link too. If we're going like Breath of the Wild Link, he cooks in that game. Nobody
true.
Nobody else
That's
cooks
true.
anywhere. There's like Chef Mario, I guess, at some points too, but
Chef Mario, Link, Master Chief probably makes the most bland taco.
probably.
I mean, you would think Pac-Man.
You think so?
No, because it'd be like a fruity.
all he
he
does
eats
is eat.
fruit all the time.
It'd be
but
a fruit
He eats
taco.
fruit and
You don't want
ghosts. Wait, that came
Fruit and ghosts.
Mario would be like a mushroom taco. You don't want that.
I mean, depends on what you're trying to get at there. Yeah, you know what? I might have to agree with you on this now.
Going with Link.
Just with the logic on this, right? Link probably makes the best taco.
Look, I only got to where I am today because of my logic sometimes.
So what's next for you, man?
Yeah, so I mean, this year we got a lot planned already that we've announced. So online play is our main focus for this year for the machines, of course, as well as, you know, getting the gold machines that are in pre-order out there, manufactured and done right now. So big manufacturing haul right now, because those are going to hit homes in about July this year. So coming up a month and a half, pretty much, which is great. On top of that, UI overhaul is my next big project too that we're currently working on, both for the game store and the launcher itself too on the machines directly. And as always, games. We're very focused on games this year as well as accessories now too, right? So we talked about spinners and trackballs and other accessories that are coming down the road. With that comes more games.
I kind of spilled the beans without.
Yeah, maybe some more Sega games, maybe some more, you know, higher end titles and things like that.
You
too,
wouldn't
with
spill your beer if
accessories,
you had a
so-
beer holder.
It's true.
But yeah, so that's our main focus this year is really the online play aspects, making the machine, you know, doing the UI overhaul is a big one, and then on top of that, of course, as always, games. We're very games focused, and it just takes time. Licensing is a monster. It's its own nightmare. So things that you think sometimes are easy are not, which is crazy. But yeah, and the bigger titles, they just come with, you know, a little bit more notoriety, basically. So, you know, we're pushing into the tens of thousands of cab sales now, which is great for our first year and a half. So because of that, now we have a little bit more say this year with what licenses we get, right? So we can go back to a lot of these people who turned us down potentially last year and say, hey, like this is how we did this first year. What do you think? Here we go. So now we're getting a lot more of those titles, and those will roll out probably later on this year. So people who are waiting for those banger games, they're coming for sure.
Oh man, it makes me even more excited, man, because I'm already excited for them as it is. Oh yeah. So social media, man, where can people find you?
Yeah, Facebook. Again, the iiRcade community is probably the best and easiest way. That's
Right.
that's our most active place. We do have Twitter and TikTok and everything else now too. It is right. So
I want to see what's on the iiRcade
TikTok's
TikTok.
new.
Like,
TikTok's
just
new.
Yeah.
TikTok's new. We're learning, right? So we do have a new social media manager, Liv. She's handling all that for me, so I help her out. But like, She knows more of that than I do, honestly. So I don't use TikTok even or anything. I don't really use social media, honestly. But
You're
gonna
too
have to
busy
find
answering
that.
questions for everybody.
I know,
That's
right?
All right, so iiRcade.com,
iiRcade.com. Yeah, II, the letter R, CADE.
and you'll be here for the rest of the day.
Yeah, we'll be here all day too. Yeah, come check out the
Awesome.
machines, come play. If you haven't experienced them yourselves yet, come on, pop by.
And any
Play as much as
questions
you
you
want.
can
Yeah.
answer.
Hell yeah. Any
Awesome.
questions you guys were too shy to ask over here? Ask them over there by the arcades. Wait, man, we thank you so much for coming
Thanks for having
and
me.